Hi everybody, hope you're all okay and you're having a good weekend, depending on whatever you've looking at this. So we've been asked to kind of put together a kind of a quick presentation of the sorts of stuff you would expect to kind of come across in your GCSE studies in history. So what I thought I would do is I would guide you through a typical kind of GCSE history lesson. So I've kind of picked one at random. And will guide you kind of through the stuff that you will be expected to do. Some of it will be familiar to you because obviously you guys have studied history since year 7, so the way we kind of do things will have some sort of similarity to your Key Stage 3 studies as well. Obviously, the first thing that will be slightly different is what you'll be given at the start of your course. So at the moment, you are given a knowledge organiser for a unit that you study. So at Key Stage 4, instead of being given just one sheet of paper, what will happen is you'll be given a section from a knowledge booklet. So the first, or the topic I've got for you today as a bit of a taster is medicine through time, specifically one of our medieval medicine lessons. And for this unit, you would be given the medieval medicine section of the knowledge booklet to help support you in your lessons, as well as to kind of ensure that you've got everything that you need, and obviously you'll use those in lessons as well as for homework and all those sorts of things. So what I'm going to do, as I said, I'm just going to guide you through the sorts of things that you can kind of expect to see, all those skills that you've been learning at Key Stage 3 and all those things that we've been doing. This is kind of their time to shine now. We'll be building on those skills even further and obviously developing you into the best history student that we possibly can. So obviously, first of all, we always start with an arrival activity. As you are well aware, we tend to use quizzes quite a lot, as well as other things as well, just to kind of recap. So where we can, obviously these quizzes will be testing prior knowledge, and those things as well. So the arrival activity for this one obviously is to create a dingbat. Now we've done those before. You'll remember potentially from our year 7 studies when I got you to revise for things, encouraged you to use dingbats where you turn things into images to try and represent the words. And it just kind of helps provide you a visual picture to try and help remember some of the key terms that you guys are going to come across. So that is the arrival activity, nice, simple, something that you'd be familiar with as we go through. Your usual learning objectives and what we're doing. So this lesson is about supernatural and religious causes for disease. So obviously prior to this you would have done some learning on this already. So again, just a nice little quiz just to kind of think about some of the ideas that you've obviously come across or you would have come across before in this lesson. So just nice, simple, true, false kind of quizzes, all done on whiteboards. So it's nice and interactive. Okay, any of you that have good memories, when you come to this in the future, you might be able to remember these. Okay, so just a short, sharp quiz just to kind of get some ideas going. Some of the stuff you'll have come across, some of the stuff you won't have done. It's just a way of kind of getting you involved and thinking about it. Now, we do try and be as creative as we can in history in the way we try and deliver things. So and this is a really good example of this, really. So essentially, this is a task whereby you are working in groups. So we do group works. We do encourage independent work as well as much as we can, because obviously it's really important, especially to get into A-level or further studies, that you are or have the ability to be an independent learner, because obviously there's more encouragement on that as you kind of go higher up in your education kind of ladder, really. So we do try and encourage that, and this is an example where we kind of give you some information and then let you decide how you're going to kind of put it together, obviously encouraging that group work and that teamwork at the same time as well. So this is just a nice little activity. So we would give you a scenario card, which would give you an example of a type of religious or supernatural cause for disease, and essentially it would be up to you to kind of come up with a freeze frame. So you have to kind of imagine that you are a picture and you are presenting this, okay? And it's just a quite nice little task, obviously, to think about and get you kind of thinking, and it helps remember it because again you're associating actions with some of these things. So Obviously there are some simple rules that you have to follow for these types of tasks, and then obviously once everyone has finished creating their freeze frame, we then have the fun of trying to guess what it is they're doing, which can be quite amusing sometimes. So we do try and encourage as much of this sort of thing as we are able to. Okay, obviously as well you'll see that on the screens there are your usual challenge tasks as well that we would expect you to complete within time. So as you can see, the layout is still very, very familiar to what you guys will have done before. So obviously being a written GCSE, it's obviously important that we do take notes down as well. So obviously that are also kind of tied into your studies as well. Obviously with regards to knowledge booklets, that does kind of lessen it a little bit, and obviously you'll have those to help you as well, but it is obviously still something that we do need to make sure we do to ensure that obviously your exercise books are become, as they were and should have been for Key Stage 3, the things that you basically would turn to when it comes to revision. So it's really important, obviously, we do have what we need, obviously, in those books as well. As well as that, again, this one involves another kind of creative task by kind of applying the stuff that you learnt a moment ago with your freeze frames with regards to the supernatural and religious causes of disease. And this encourages you to use everything that you've just learned to try and come up with your own type of cure using the factors that were influencing beliefs at the time. So again, it's just another little creative task just to kind of draw together the stuff that you know and to kind of produce something based on that. And when we can, obviously peer assessment is really important, especially we use this obviously when kind of looking at exam answers as well. We might get people to kind of mark each other's answers to suggest improvements, and that just gets you involved within the mark scheme. It gets you involved in getting used to kind of critically thinking about your work. So it's really important, obviously, we kind of do this sorts of thing as well. So this is a lesson where peer assessment has been built in. And it links to last task, so it links into the poster that would have been created in the previous task, and ensuring that everything is as good as it can be. Okay, so peer assessment is something that, again, we do try and encourage as much as possible. You know, again, we do this at Key Stage 3 as well, so you know, you should be used to kind of peer assessing and looking at how we can improve and critically thinking about the ways in which we can improve your answers. And these are just, so you know what I was talking about, these would be the examples you'd be given when you were doing your freeze frames. Again, this is just a little bit of information you've been given, and from this is all you would have to get creative and try and come up with a freeze frame picture, essentially, of this thing for everyone to then obviously be able to guess. So essentially that is just one of many lessons that you could study, obviously within history. Obviously, we cover a wide range of topics, so there are all sorts of different tasks and different ways in which we do it. This is just an example of a typical lesson that you could come across.